Hi, everybody. This is an impromptu broadcast for one main reason and for one small reason. The small reason is from a technological perspective. Uh, StreamYard, who I utilize for the streaming of the program, has offered a new little thing that allows viewers to watch in whether they're on Facebook or on YouTube or whether they're watching on their phones, uh, both horizontal and vertical, so that depending on what device you're watching on, if you're watching on a phone, there will not be any black bars, okay, that will be getting in your way of seeing things. I wanted to be able to do that, but there's a much more important reason for me doing what I'm doing. Yesterday's program got me to thinking about a lot of things. And then the events in Dallas, Texas, regarding the Dallas Mavericks became publicized when the general manager was terminated because of fans chanting to fire him for the whole Luka Doncic uh, mistake and just running the team into the toilet, and expecting that the fans would sit there quietly and pay whatever price to get in and watch a team that has nobody now worth watching. And the Mavericks are now 3-8 this season and going nowhere fast. This is a small program. I joke all the time that it's a boutique program. We don't have many viewers. Right now, I have 903 subscribers. That's all, and I've been doing this for 24 years. So building this has not been like me trying to build an empire, nor have I ever made a dime off of this program for any reason, whether it's from paywalls or whether it's from advertising. Never, because that's not the model that I chose to select. But I'm reaching out for help because there are many people who are bitten by the bug of doing programs for and about the Cleveland Browns that are not on the tit of the organization, sucking the tit of the organization. There are a number of really good-minded fans who really want to promote the team, who have different points of view than I have. I don't know them. They don't know me. But my mind wanders back to when Art Modell moved the team and we lost the Cleveland Browns for a period of time because of the same kind of avarice and greed that we're seeing that is pervasive in professional sports, worse now than it was then. That a guy who could run a team into the ground could then just turn around and move it and call himself the Baltimore Ravens. And it was a group of fans who, at the time, I wasn't doing a podcast. I wasn't doing programming. But a bunch of fans stood up, and I commend those fans for saving football in Northeast Ohio. We didn't know what it would lead to, and if we did, I'm not sure they would have done it. But, that it wasn't right, that the fans who had supported financially the organization all those years suddenly had it swept away from them so that people in Baltimore could have a football team that didn't resemble the Colts back in the NFL. So everybody happy in Baltimore, everybody unhappy in Cleveland, and these fans kept on. They literally would not kill the drumbeat that they wanted football back in Cleveland. And I know that what we got in return was not equivalent to what we lost. We lost a franchise that won football games, and we haven't had anything really very reminiscent of that since the team came back in 1999. But the league was moved to bring football, although done in a hasty, sloppy way, to give Cleveland a football team again. And like I say all the time, I've lived long enough to see a lot of things. I'm reaching my hoof out and asking for help. because I can't reach enough people to make something that I think is important to get done. But there are a lot of you out there who know people whose programs you watch, and more avidly than this, and deservedly so, because there are a lot of people who put a lot more time into their product than I do. But we need to get word out that enough's enough. The fans have to take this in the same way that they took the team being stolen from the city of Cleveland and shipped out to Baltimore. And we have to have the same amount of passion about this. If you're going, and I say, don't, a lot of people are saying, don't go to the games, just an empty stadium. It's like, I thought about this after yesterday's program. I thought about this, and that's not the way to go. You want to fill the stadium. You want to get all of your friends to pay the price to go into the stadium, to make that place jam-packed. And throughout the entire game, bring signage and chants to fire Stefanski, fire Andrew Berry, fire Bubba Ventrone. And if not, we'll fire Jimmy Haslam and won't show up to watch this trash anymore. The fan's voice can only be heard when it's unified. I'm not a leader of men. I'm not a person who's the charge of the light brigade. I'm not that kind of guy. And like I said just a few minutes ago, I don't reach enough people to even get this ball even slightly moving, let alone rolling. But I want the people who see this to spread word to the people, the good, honest people who are doing programming about the Browns. And if it's not this week, that it's the week after, the next home game, whenever. Let's figure out a game where the fans show up and bend the arm of ownership to remind them that we're the people footing the bill. The city of Cleveland has been literally footing the bill. If you live in Northeast Ohio, as I do half the year, your taxes are going to support this bastardization of football. You have a right to be heard, and it's fair that you have the opportunity to say things and to make your point well heard. This is not designed to hurt the players. Cheer for the players. Make banners for your favorite players. We're not saying to fire the players. You're reading on the bottom of the screen the words we hear over and over: we can do better. Kevin Stefanski, we can be better. We got to be better. Well, the first way we get better is getting rid of you, Kevin. The way we get better is to get rid of Bubba Ventrone, so we have special teams who are organized to tackle people, to get rid of Andrew Berry, who's the right-hand financial man of Jimmy Haslam, who knows nothing about football and drafting and has proven it over and over again. That's how we start. We can't abdicate the king from his throne. We can't take Jimmy Haslam's business away from him. After all, this is not Russia, okay? And I'm not suggesting that we do, but what I'm suggesting is that if we go in and make a loud enough noise, that the voices will be heard. And if the voices are ignored, that's when we talk about emptying the stadium. There has to be a movement afoot, and it has to be not led by a 68-year-old has-been who has 903 subscribers. It has to start with younger fans. And the shows, instead of competing with one another, let's branch together and let's put our authority and power together to try to make sure that voices are heard about this. It's the only thing I can personally think of that fans can do other than sit around and bellyache on programs like this. That doesn't get us anywhere. The one thing Jimmy Haslam does know is that he has the media in his pocket, and he's got Cleveland.com and he's got ClevelandBrowns.com. And if that's where you're getting your information, it's all propaganda and it's all bullshit. But they have people in the radio business who are really being paid under the table. You're worried about Clase. You're worried about Luis Ortiz, people whose radio properties are literally being paid to be good little boys and go along to get along. And it's unfair to the people who are losing money in Northeast Ohio, the city government. It's unfair to the fans. I suggested in yesterday's program, how much is it? $600 that you would pay for Sunday ticket. And then I realized that I'm living in the past because I'm an old dude. I mean, Sunday Pass isn't going to get you all the games anymore. You got to get Peacock, and, there's a bunch of different things that they're forcing you to buy as well. So it's going to be a lot of money, a lot more than $600 if you want to watch every NFL game that the Cleveland Browns play. It will cost you a tremendous amount of money. And so everything is getting more expensive for you, and things are getting less expensive for Jimmy Haslam because, it's like the city can try to raise your rates as far as your taxation is concerned. But the city of Cleveland's even going broke, folks. Look at the city. Akron looks like a third world country in parts. It kills me that I grew up in this area. It really bothers me. Do I think there's a renaissance for Northeast Ohio? I don't know. I'm not going to live long enough to see it. But God damn it, if there's 903 fucking subscribers to this show, I'm going to plead with the 903 subscribers, and I'm going to ask for the help of shows that I don't ever, and I've never seen them as rival programs. We've had a lot of people who started on this program and started their own broadcasts, and I wish them nothing but the best. I'm friends with people who do broadcasts for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yeah, that's where Baker Mayfield went, and that's where he's flourishing. But people who helped me out in my early days, I don't forget those people. And I just want to reach out and see if we can band together and do something. If we banded together and got a football team back, we have possession of a football team. We can make it do better. Instead of hearing those hollow words over and over again from some stuffed shirt from the Ivy League, we can make it do better. Get rid of these people. Put pressure on ownership. You're not going to be able to take the money out of Jimmy Haslam's wallet, folks. You're not going to be able to do that. But he's a weak little prick. Believe me, he thinks he's strong, but he was never smart enough to make money in any of the businesses that he started because he didn't start any of them. He was gifted his father's trucking company, and he got it in trouble with the law. And he was gifted an NFL franchise because he was a 2% owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he was part of the boys club. They don't bring new people in. You want to know why Donald Trump is so obsessed about getting the Commander Stadium named after him? Donald Trump, back in the days of the USFL, when he was involved with the USFL, he wanted to be involved in the NFL, and he wanted to have ownership in the Buffalo Bills. And those men refused him because he wasn't one of them. It is a very, very private club. Donald Trump's never forgiven them for that, and he's trying to find his way into the side door of the NFL any way he can. Now it's out of spite. That's why he wants the stadium named after him. Sheer spite, because he's upset that it is such a closed boys club. And it really is. So our only option to make our football team better is to make our voices heard. If you're going to shell out the coin and you're going to be at the stadium, make them hear you. Sell out the stadium. Go in there and do your tailgating act, but that's the message in the tailgating act as well. We can do better. Fire Stefanski. Fire Ventrone. Fire Andrew Berry. And you notice that I'm not saying you have to play Shadur. I have no idea who is more deserving to play at what positions, nor do I care. I just want people who are hired to do jobs who can make those assessments. That's all I want. Competent people, the fans. If you're paying for this, the least you can do is have competent people running the organization and not making you shake your head and say, man, why would they do something stupid like that? I'll give you the best example was last night's Cavaliers game. That was a crazy game. That was the wildest game I think I've seen in many years. And unfortunately, the Cavaliers came up on the short end. Kenny Atkinson got thrown out of the game. Like for the umpteenth time, the other team was getting, twice as many free throws as the Cavaliers, and it wore thin on him, and he got tossed. And so Johnny Bryant was left as the head coach, and that cost us the game in essence. If you watch the final play, it was obvious. It's like with 0.4 seconds left on the clock, you got to have somebody guarding the rim for an inbounds alley-oop pass. And it evaded Johnny, which explains why Johnny's an assistant coach and not a head coach, and a painful learning experience for the young man. But you got to have the right people in charge to make the right decisions to have a good quality team. That's the bottom line. And the people who are Stefanski and Ventrone and Berry, these people are not competent, qualified people. And the question is now, is anybody who is capable and competent willing to work with, Jimmy Haslam? And the day may come when, something may happen where Jimmy Haslam oversteps his bounds, and we might have some authority as fans to try to build up a case against him that we don't want him to own the team anymore. But he would have to do something really, really incredibly bad. So worse than things that he's already done. So we're not going to, realistically, that's not going to happen. What we can do, though, is we are the consumer, and we can control what we purchase and what we don't. And let's use, you paid for tickets, you belong in the stadium, and there are still empty seats involved. You can get your friends, you can get people from, we should be pimping this on our programs. Go out and buy the tickets, because this is what we're going to do. Set a week to make it all happen. There are people out there who I personally don't know, but are extremely important. Guys like McNeil. I don't know him. I've been seeing him on social media for ages. And, people who have just so much more pull than somebody like me. And I'm not a troublemaker. Not by any stretch of the imagination, but there comes a time when voices have to be heard. But we need the biggest voices. They don't need my voice. Y'all don't need my voice. I just want to be a guy with a little flint in his hand, starting a spark that can maybe start a fire, that may start a huge blaze that will get something done that's good for Northeast Ohio, because I love where I grew up. And after yesterday's program, I felt bad. I felt bad because it's like, I don't find any joy, in being a cow character and being a wise guy and being a foul-mouthed broadcaster. It's all just a game. It's not something that I strive to do. That's not who I am when I'm off camera. That's not what I do. I if there was one thing that this show could accomplish in the 24 years it's been on, would be just to start to light a spark of interest, so that somebody out there who really has sway, who knows how to use the technology today, not like a 68-year-old guy like me, but somebody who knows how to manipulate information to get it out and disseminate it to as many people as possible. Let's put out a message to our fans to unite, instead of saying, no, we don't want a dome and we want a dome. Fuck that shit. Fuck the dome thing. It doesn't matter. We all want a competent team, a competently run and managed team. We want players who want to continue to play in Cleveland, not go someplace else and find their glory that way. We want ownership, and we want coaches with honor. That's all. We want a good result. And I don't think any of us can be blamed for that. So I'm just going to leave this up here and hope that by chance, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. Can we get a ball rolling, please, to at least do what they had the balls to do in Dallas, Texas? You can't just get rid of Luka and, bring in Cooper Flag and serve that shit to your fan base after they were a contending team, and watch the Lakers now winning with Luka, and you're 3-8. The fans got to have some testicles, man. You got to have balls. Or else you're just going to get we got to do better. We got to do better. And please, we all can do better. Could you pitch in? Could you help? I would appreciate it. It's not something that you do financially. It's just something that if there are 5 people who see this, who have any kind of clout whatsoever with the programs that people are really actually watching and digesting on a daily basis, could you please drop them a line and see if this can be done? I would appreciate it tremendously. Thanks a lot for listening to this public service announcement from Moohead Radio. I will be back with you at the end of the week, I promise. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Have a good day.